There's been a lot of worse Christmas Carol adaptations or versions, maybe even dinner theater, just be honest. But A Christmas Karen is this to be film, and I thought, well, this is just going to be just absurd on its face. And I have to be honest, it's actually not that bad. It is like I said, sort of like just a meh adaptation of A Christmas Carol, but what through the lens of their version of a Karen, which I want to get to at some point because it's not exact. I don't think Karen it means to certain people the same. Like it, I get a feeling there's some ambiguity of the definitions here, but it's basically exactly what you would expect. It is the off-putting elements of a character named Karen in a suburban Florida neighborhood at Christmas time. She is everything you can imagine. All the stereotypes are there. Shutting down the little girl, doing like the lemonade stand type thing, calling for the manager, being irrational, hitting someone with their vehicle at one point was kind of weird. Like bumped a kid on a bike. It was kind of strange because it was like actually no, it's an actual crime, but evidently it was just kind of like we're supposed to laugh it all off. Just extremely racist and prejudice, belittling, just every stereotype you can think of, and then goes through this Christmas Carol visits by the three ghosts, where it's revealed because we don't really see that at the early part. We see, through that process we see that she's actually very homophobic. She's kind of disowned her gay brother. She's just just again she's awful in every way. So that's the general gist of the film. It is exceedingly low budget. It's on Tubi. I don't know where else it has been. It is not by anyone that I'm familiar with. I don't know any work by John Binkowski, who wrote and directed it. And it's just, mindless blather. Yeah, this is how the film opens with this sort of like early scene where you don't see her face right away. And you have this sort of like her shutting down the hot cocoa stand of her neighbor. Like, you need a permit. We'll get your mom thrown in jail kind of thing. So, and again, and they pick and choose their lanes very inconsistently because there's really not, so there's no, like the term awful, right? The affluent white female liberal isn't really as represented in her circles. It's usually the frumpy white wine moms. And it's kind of a little strange because we're not really quite hitting the nail on the head of what a lot of the Karens actually are. So that's how this opens up. This opening sequence here is actually kind of spoiled, for to be honest. And there's our shot of our Karen. So yeah, she's if she had like the blue hair on like our big old stripe, that'd probably be a better representation of who some of the Karens have kind of become at this point. But it's fine for the film and it works. I mean, and it is consistent because they push every extreme that they kind of can. Because it's low budget, though, it doesn't really get any legs of at least trying to deal with some of these type of stereotypes. They deserve credit for it. They gave kind of like this sad, pathetic cashier a hard time because she won't take like a 4-year-old coupon, but wants the manager, but not really the manager, the assistant manager. I'm going to call the owner. I'm going to get my stuff. And this is the typical Karen face. You see that on Twitter. You've seen viral videos, that kind of thing. So this is what they lean into very early on. This is the kid. I think this is when she bumps the kid on the bike. Yeah, she bumps this kid on the bike. She jumps out and starts screaming, "But you scratched my car." So this is again, the stereotype wouldn't be that she would drive a Hummer per se, but I think they're leaning into more like the Trump voter version of a Karen rather than like the more common version, which is the awfuls. Some of you had never heard that term before, but yeah, that's affluent white female liberal. Yeah, but look at the imagery. They capture it great. They do a great job of capturing all that. She goes home. She pulls herself this giant glass. So this wine glass is like this massive bottle, basically, and she's like shooing away. So at this point, she's not even as much Karen in a few of these scenes. She's really because they want it to be set at Christmas. She's almost an amalgam of like a Wicked Witch and a Grinch kind of molded with the Karen. So think of it as like the triangle of the three characters. And a lot of this, I got to be honest, a lot of this was funny because they leaned into the absurdity of this person and like why anyone would tolerate. Like she's in her bathrobe, which she stole from the hotel. There's her pouring this giant glass of wine, all that kind of stuff. And this is the Marley character, right? So her friend, the former boss or whatever, is kind of like the role model. Her name is Jackie. So yeah, it's a Christmas Carol thing. And again, the funny thing is, I went into this completely ignorant of it being a Christmas Carol, and I actually was like, wait, her name is Morley, so we're having a Christmas. So in the makeup and all this cheese, yeah, it is what it is. It's uber low budget. Today's Scrooge. Yes, if I'd seen the trailer, I would have been a little bit more better prepared. So she's totally wigging out. Some of this stuff's cut out of order, so you kind of have an idea of what's actually going on. But then she's visited by the different ghosts. So yes, it's so on the nose, and it's played for some fun moments, even though other moments are very cringy and not good. So the Black Fairy is the ghost of the past. And I have to admit, there's a line about grabbing the onion, which made me actually laugh. Like, it deserves a star for actually getting a genuine laugh out of me. So there's at least one or two of those moments where I actually laughed. And this character is played so over the top and flamboyant. His name is Roland Alexis. Roland Alexis is the name. And really, Gary is the ghost of Christmas past. He didn't really have any credits. He's done like shorts and stuff. I have to be honest, he seemed very fearless as a performer, and actually was probably one of my favorite parts of the film. Even though I have to give her credit as Karen, I feel like this movie might have been filmed over a pretty long period of time because her weight and her appearances are not always the same. I feel like did she gain or lose weight over time? So, I will also say, and even though it's played for gags, I thought it was actually fun because they have moments where if she's holding on to the ghost in some way, shape, or form, then they may not be able to see, or they can move around versus not be able to move around, and some of those kinds of things. So it's just a different take. And they actually did that a lot in this movie. They come up with different takes on the Christmas Carol to allow for her character to evolve and basically become a good person, which is, again, is the message of the Christmas Carol. So she runs into the version of her old self. And again, for you nerds out there, you'll probably get a laugh, right? So all these toys should be kept gem mint in the box kind of thing. And there's a callback to that later. But you can see, look at him in his ridiculous outfit and how over the top, cross-dressed. And this is the gay brother. So the gay brother is like, again, it's so over the top with like stereotypes and tropes. It's not remotely like believable in some way. It's just the absurd level is ramped up. So this is Joy. This is Ghost of the Present, and then this is the other backstory. So the backstory, instead of having Tiny Tim, they have the next door named Nia. Of course, she doesn't even know anybody's name because they're POCs. They're POCs. She completely writes them off because she's prejudiced and racist. Get it? None of that really is particularly smooth. But I will say there is a Santa moment, a moment when Nia, I thought, really was kind of a good heartfelt. It was delivered really well by the actress that plays the mom. Her name is Ashley Jones. And again, not familiar with these folks, but I can tell you this. I thought she did a really pretty good job on that. She's been in some other stuff. She was in like a Tyler Perry project or something. And she's worked with this creator before. She was kind of underutilized. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, this is okay. So this is Death. His name is Damon, and he's sort of like a beta goth kid, and they have like these weird CGI things they do. But I will say some of it was actually done pretty well. These moments fun. This is so uber low budget and B movie, C movie, D movie kind of stuff. My expectation was so low. The fact that it's like a 2-star movie out of my 5 is not that to me is actually a good score for this kind of film. It's just mindless, stupid. And when I think about the amount of money that has been spent on movies like Deck the Halls and Christmas with the Cranks and many, many, many others that I don't watch at all, I thought to myself, this is actually not bad at all compared to that other stuff. It's at least in that same conversation. And actually, to be honest, I think I would enjoy rewatching this more because of the absurdity and the timeliness of it than I do. I have no idea why Deck the Halls makes the rotation at my house. I've got to figure out how to get in, put an end to that and get a stop. They get that stopped. So um, anyway, so this is all good, and again, it's typical Christmas story, right? She's herself, and you know the story, right? You know the redemptive arc of what she'll become and how she'll find things, and you get a lot of callbacks and that kind of thing. But like I said, it's more like a playful version of like a Trump voter or a Trump Karen. I think they don't. There's no I don't think there's really any blatant politics or anything like that. So I don't. I'm not trying to put things in the film that aren't there. My point is these are not like they're not like there's no cat lady references. There's no wine. It's not that awful. It's not that affluent white female liberal. They're just not in this. And I think that would have been the only thing that would have made this a little bit better. A couple of her friends or something would have been a little bit. But anyway, you know what? Wasn't the worst thing. I've seen worse things from mainstream film. If I have to rank, this actually was dated as last year, even though I didn't see it last year. I only saw it this year. I would not rate this at the bottom of my movie list. That's how bad some of the other stuff is. I would rather sit through this again than some Disney Marvel type stuff, for instance. Anyway, that's my take on it. I don't know. Maybe you guys have seen it, or you're like, listen, you know what? Just for craps and giggles, I'll watch it. I don't know. That's kind of how I felt. I thought, well, I'll just do Ironcaster. So you, bro. I did a 2B film. So anyway, folks, you guys take care. I am Pops.